Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back, man. So listen, last week's episode of Dragon Ball Super was not only crazy, but it definitely threw a lot of people for a loop. Specifically the parts where we found out that Universe 7, technically, in terms of all the other universes, really isn't that strong, you know. And not only that, during that episode, we kind of see a little shadowing match between Beerus and the Supreme Kai. Now, the reason those two were shouting at each other is because, you know, they were basically trying to figure out who the hell was to blame for the Universe 7's current ranking, which at this point we find out is second to last. Now, in my opinion, I'm going to go ahead and blame Beerus, but, you know, I'll get to that in a sec. Before I get to that, in one of my last videos, I promised the boy Goku that I'd give him an apology. Because let me be honest, man, I had actually been kind of hard on him. Goku had been doing a lot of dumb shit. Really, man, I kind of felt like he fucked the universe over. Especially considering how he reminded Zeno of the tournament. And then you find out that, you know, the losers are going to be destroyed. So I actually kind of called Goku the villain a little bit. But it turns out Goku actually wasn't the villain. If anything, he actually ended up being the hero again. Because had Goku not done that, you know, the lower universes would have been destroyed with no heads up. So thanks to Goku, at least the universes now get a chance to compete before they get destroyed. So to my boy Goku, I'm sorry for calling you out like that, man. You were right, I was wrong. You know, it is what it is. Listen, dude, I'm not afraid to admit when I was wrong, so I apologize. Now, moving on. The reason I'm blaming Beerus for Universe 7's weak standing among the other universes is because of his action and lack of action. I mean, you gotta think, Beerus has done so much shit that has caused ripple effects across Universe 7 that at this point it's not surprising that they're second from last. In terms of the ranking, I'm going to assume that the ranking is based on power, simply because, you know, everything that we know about Zeno, he seems to be fascinated by power, so that would make the most sense to me. In terms of ripple effects, you know, there are several things that Beerus did and didn't do that really affected the universe. Now, the main thing I'm talking about is the order that he gave Frieza, which was to destroy planet Vegeta. You gotta think, you know, the Saiyans were already known as one of the strongest races in the universe, if not the strongest race. You know, that entire race was comprised of nothing but warriors. Even if they weren't crazy strong as the Saiyans are now, you gotta think, at that time, you know, their strength was pretty incredible. And the only one who you really thought was stronger than them at the time was Frieza. Now, with the whole planet being destroyed, you gotta wonder not only how much power was destroyed at that time, but how much potential for more power was destroyed. Because obviously we know now that turning Super Saiyan and turning Super Saiyan God is a possibility. So what would have happened if the whole planet of Vegeta would have had the ability to turn Super Saiyan, you know? Now, because Beerus ordered Frieza to destroy that planet, all that was left was what? A handful of Saiyans. I mean, that right there, you gotta wonder how much power was cut off at that point when Beerus ordered Frieza to do that. Now, in response to that also, you gotta think, you know, because Frieza did destroy the planet Vegeta, that caused Vegeta himself to have a lot of hatred for Frieza. Now, obviously we know Frieza is strong, but what we also know is that Frieza's henchmen are strong. Now, if you remember all the stuff that took place on Namek, you gotta wonder too, how much of the universe's power was destroyed when Vegeta was going around destroying Frieza's henchmen. You know, it's not like Frieza was running around with weak gods by his side, you know, and Vegeta himself wasn't weak. So because he wanted to get retaliation and because of his hatred for Frieza, Vegeta destroyed a lot of Frieza's forces. And you gotta wonder how much power was cut off on that end. In terms of destroying planets, we know that Frieza wasn't the only one. A good example of that would be how Dragon Ball Super actually started. We know that Beerus destroyed a planet simply because he didn't like the food, you know. He didn't like the food, and those guys tried to poison him simply because they feared him. And Beerus, you know, he seems like a guy who would destroy a planet for the dumbest fucking reasons. I could see him, the way he's short-tempered and the way how his patience really doesn't last long. I could see him destroying a planet because somebody looked at him wrong, or somebody said something he didn't like, or hell, even because he was bored. He's short-tempered, he doesn't really have patience, and he honestly gets bored easily. So with that kind of knowledge, who's to say that Beerus didn't wipe out most of the universe's powers on his own just because he didn't have anything better to do, you know? We know that Beerus' job as God of Destruction is to 1. Destroy planets and replace them with something else, and 2. To remove undesirables from the universe. Now, granted, we already know that Beerus gave Frieza permission to destroy planet Vegeta, but planet Vegeta honestly wasn't the only planet that Frieza destroyed. we know Frieza not only destroyed a lot of other planets, but he destroyed planets that, one, had fighters on them, and two, that were for the most part pretty well developed. So you gotta wonder, as God of Destruction, wouldn't at some point he think to himself, man, I really need to reel this guy in? Because we all know what Frieza became, we all know what kind of terror he became to the universe, and you know, something like that, he was actually an undesirable, and ultimately that led to his destruction. But you gotta wonder, how come the God of Destruction himself didn't intervene in that? You know, he seemed like he turned a blind eye, and because of that, not only was there a lot of loss of life, but there was also a lot of loss of power. Now, speaking of power, you know, we know that Beerus wants to fight a really strong opponent. That's the whole reason he helped Goku become a Super Saiyan God, and that's the whole reason that he's pretty much been training Goku and Vegeta. He wants to fight someone strong. He wants that thrill of fighting someone that's on the same level of his power. But you gotta think, man, if that's really what he wants, how come he never replaced any of those planets that were destroyed? How come he never replaced Planet Vegeta? I mean, you're talking about a planet that's full of warriors, a planet that's full of people that are potentially going to be extremely strong one day. Even if you don't replace it with someone that's as strong as the Saiyans, you replace it with like another warrior race, and you build that race up, and one day, you know, you nurture them so that they can become somebody you fight. Why is it that Beerus never did that? That's kind of one of the reasons why I think Beerus really is to blame. You know, a lot of bad shit happened on Beerus's watch. Granted, I know the Supreme Kai has a lot of responsibility also, but as a God of Destruction, you know, had he destroyed Frieza at an earlier date than Goku and friends did, a lot of those planets wouldn't be destroyed. And who's to say that the battle power for Universe 7 wouldn't have been a lot higher? Now, in terms of Universe 7 being ranked second from bottom, I personally don't agree with that. Not because I don't know what the other universes are capable of, but because we know that Universe 7 did defeat his brother's Champa's Universe 6 in that tournament. So if anything, I felt like Universe 6 should be ranked under Universe 7, which would leave Universe 7 third from last as opposed to second from last. But you know, I don't write the shit, so I can only take my own guess and have my own opinions and have my own feelings about things. Other than that, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I didn't intend for it to be long. Just wanted to tell you guys that Beerus is the one to blame for our low ranking, and the finger pointing should definitely go to him. Now, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If so, go ahead and leave a like on your way out. Also, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. There's a lot of cool shit coming up. I'm adding more shit to the channel. Plus, I'm doing a giveaway here soon. Make sure that ass is a part of it. And if you do subscribe, make sure you turn those notifications on, because I want you to be up on what's happening with the channel, alright? Now, other than that, guys, that's going to do it for your boy. As always, I'm Heroes Come Back 2. Do great, be great. Catch you guys later, man. Peace!